Hey, that's the Sunday guy you made a joke about. What are you joking? That's how we pull.
Do you know when the rankings will be out? The rankings?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us here at the Super Sophomore Camp. I'm Marcus Burnett. I'll be joined by Clay Dade, Camp Director, shortly. We're bringing you top 40 game action here live from the Sampson's Fitness Center on the campus of New Birth. We see that bucket there by number 3, LaPerion Perry, as the action is already underway. Perry with the steal. Tries to drop that one off to number 50, DeAndre Ballard. Ballard unable to hold on to it. Not something you can really say for him for the majority of this Super Sophomore Camp. He's done a great job of being able to run and use that length that he has to finish. Here we got the jump shot knocked down from outside. Tray ball for number 13, Terrell Turner. Ballard going to try a jump shot of his own. His jump shots have come off a little unorthodox here at this camp, but he's still been able to knock them down. End result has been in his favor, a big reason why he's here in the top 40 game. Shot missed there by number 37, Jordan Whitfield, but it's followed up there by number 46. Ballard with it. Up top to Perry. So we've got Clay Dade joining us here as the Super Sophomore Camp 2014. Not done just yet, Clay. One of the best pieces of the event, top 40 and top 20 games. Your thoughts on this one here early on?
Well, I think, again, you're gonna see, and we're seeing already, some tremendous talent, so you can't really distinguish between top 20 and top 40. Just some really special kids. There you see number 50, DeAndre Ballard from right here in the Atlanta area, pulling up from the foul line. That's his specialty, is athleticism and recognizing his shot, close in and close range. He does that really, really well, and he's just indicative of so many kids here in camp this weekend that really helped themselves from their performance these past 3 days.
Now, Clay, you talked about how hard it can be to distinguish the top 20 from the top 40 given the overall talent level, but for even those players that didn't make the 2 All-Star games, echo some of those same sentiments that you made prior to the release.
Marcus, let me tell you, I mean, this was one of the deepest camps we've had, and I mean, it's difficult every year to pick just 40 guys out of 100 guys and you have the top 100 in the class. So how do you distinguish? And this is as good a group as we've had and as deep a group as we had. And there you see Terrell Turner with a special move. He's a kid from South Florida in the Broward area, and he's going to be a really good player. And there's DeAndre Ballard showing why he played his way into this game. He is the specialist mid-range. I mean, that's what he does. So it's really hard to pick 40 guys based on their performance, and we get a lot of help from our coaches that coach these kids during the camp, as well as ESPN scouts and other scouts that are here and observers.
White team inbounding the ball, working down low, but unable to hit the shot there was Tyree Walker.
Kyrie's a really interesting talent. He's about 6'4". He's a super athletic player, plays for one of the top high school basketball programs in the country in the Washington, D.C. area at Paul VI High School in the powerful D.C. Catholic League, where I'm from, actually. And, he's a bouncy wing player. Had a little knee trouble during the camp, but he's overcome it to have a fine outing these past 3 days, and you're going to be hearing a lot about him. A lot of ACC and Big East schools are recruiting him.
Kyrie Walker, number 27 there in the white jerseys. He's going to have a breather as we have a new 5 in for the white team, including number 62, Ian DuBose. Looks like number 97, Lemmy Howard.
Ooh, great block.
Who we see not taking very long to get active as he blocks that one against the glass. White team off to the races. Woo! Wow. It's going to be slammed home emphatically by Kiema Gibson.
He's from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So, you know, he plays with Athletes First, the same program that produced Blake Griffin, Alonzo Trier, there's Ballard again, hitting his runner. That's what he does. He's a great slasher.
Now, Ballard, you know, at first sight, some of the shots or some of the flow of Ballard is kind of unorthodox as far as when it first comes off. You can't really gauge his productivity by the way it looks. Your thought on that look?
I've always told, we call him Ticket, I've always told Ballard that he doesn't have the prettiest game, but he's effective. He gets it done. He's a guy that started basketball late. That kid right there is a special talent. He just needs to play more and be more coachable and learn. That's LaTravian Glover from South Florida, from the Miami area. Very talented player. Probably a top 20 talent, but you know, some things that we hope he'll address that we talked to him about on and off the floor with him. But he's a passionate kid, and we don't want to take that away from him. LaTravian Glover, number 16 in white. Real good player.
Now, Clay, there are plenty of specialties that you've been able to see with the talent pool here at the Super Sophomore Camp. Any particular specialties that you see out there with the lineup that we have on the court now?
Well, you know, when you look at Tyler Polley, number 9, he's a really talented shooter. His father was an NFL player, Tommy Polley. Some might remember the linebacker. And there you see a great block. That's Tyler Polley, right on time, scoring underneath. He's a tough kid. He's grown about 5 inches in the past year and a half. He's 6'7" now. He's he's a specialist from outside. Can do a lot of things. You know, you look at a kid like LaPerrian Perry from LaGrange, Georgia, number 3, the smallest player on the floor in blue, but you know, his specialty is his ability to put the defense on its heels and burst. I mean, he has an amazing burst, and he is fearless. He had a number of plays at the rim. Even had a near dunk today. So he's a freak athlete at 5'6". There's Ballard pulling up. Great follow up. Oh, nice block by Tyler Polley. So
good rebound by Eddie Scott. His putback attempt blocked out of bounds, but it'll stay with Team Blue. So get it up top to Perry. Perry, one of the impressive guards here at the camp, have featured plenty of big men as well, and they actually got to be able to get some tips from Theo Ratliff during yesterday's session.
That was great to have Theo come in and work with the guys, mainly work with the bigs. I don't know too many times where high school kids can get the opportunity to work with NBA players, particularly an former NBA All-Star in Theo Ratliff, who lives right here in Atlanta and really is involved in kids' lives, young people's lives. He takes a lot of interest in them, and the kids really responded to working with Theo yesterday. We saw it in their play after working with him. They showed some of the big man moves and some of the footwork that he was emphasizing during that workout.
Yeah, talking to a guy that plays 17 years in the NBA doesn't give you added perspective. Not sure what will.
That's right. And he made a lot of money, so that helps. There's that burst we talk about. LaPerrian Perry, number 3 for the Blue.
Burst is an understatement.
Look at that defense. Did you see him just take it?
Team Blue benefiting from that defensive play by Perry. Can they cash in? Ballard's second attempt won't go, but they'll have a third opportunity after that rebound. Tough shot right there. Off the mark. Here's Glover. Gonna put it on the deck. Nice defense being played there by number 43, Eddie Scott.
We got a full platoon change here. I tell you, Marcus, a kid I liked this weekend who we didn't know a lot about him and liked him, but number 37 in white from Raleigh, North Carolina, the point guard Jordan Whitfield really helped himself this weekend. I mean, he played really, really well. Really has put himself in the conversation nationally with this camp performance. There you see Terrell Turner, number 13 from South Florida, pulling up from 3. He has that ability. You talk about specialty. He's a knockdown shooter, and that's what he did this weekend. But Jordan Whitfield, you'll be hearing a lot about him. He plays with Nike Team United, and he's a nice player.
That shot missed there. Team White coming the other way. Walker with it. Back out top to the aforementioned Whitfield. Ball's loose, but it's taken out of there by number 18, David Nickelberry. And get it inside is Whitfield. Whitfield says no mouse in the house there. Defends it. Unfortunately for him, the shot goes. Number 58, Darion Fluker.
Fluker. Yeah, we misspelled that. It's F-L-U-K-E-R. Nice move, Jordan Whitfield with the reverse. The way he twisted there, doesn't that remind you of how right over here he comes over and visits us, huh? Kyrie Irving twists on his finishes at the rim, and guys like AI used to twist his body, Allen Iverson that way, and these kids really learn from those guys and watching them. And you know, Whitfield's been impressive. Look at his defense. Look at that defense.
Nearly forced the turnover there, able to pick up the pieces and finish. Number 30, Emmanuel Lambright.
Yeah, he's a 6'5" wing who can really fill it up. He's a big-time scorer, can shoot from a lot of different places. He's from South Florida, Bradenton, Sarasota area. Like him a lot. That kid with the ball right there, another find for us, David Nickelberry. He plays with Each One, Teach One, lefty, 6'6", really an interesting player, can do a lot of things. There's Kyrie Walker.
Nickelberry going to get it ahead. Nice shot right there, knocked down by number 33.
That's Chuma Okeke. Woo! Big play by Kyrie Walker. Unbelievable athleticism at 6'4". Yeah, Chuma's an interesting player. Just 2 years ago, really wasn't much of an offensive player. This camp, he is. You can see the growth in his game. His ball handling. Look at his ball handling. He's much more comfortable out on the perimeter. I've been very impressed with the growth in his game. He's really made himself into, you know, a real prospect.
Now, how much would you say, Clay, this event really helps as a platform for what you've already got in the arsenal per se, versus helping you really point out some areas that you may want to focus a lot more on?
That's a great question, Marcus, and a great point. It does both. This camp does both. It really brings out, you know, it exposes what you need to develop more and work on and improve. But it also, as you said, is an excellent platform to gain momentum and create buzz for yourself, but also to gauge for yourself where you're at among the top elite players in the class, in your class. And so every year we get that, and we see these guys a year later from now, and they're just markedly different players. They're really different players. They've grown in their game, and a lot of them say, hey, you know, it was, the wake-up call was here. Yeah. At Super Soph Camp. And you look at a guy like Cliff Alexander. Everybody knows Cliff Alexander, who's going to Kansas, McDonald's All-American. They know him as now, but we knew him before when he came to our Fab Frosh Camp and Super Soph Camp. The growth from Fab Frosh to Super Soph was incredible. Yeah. And he went from a pudgy, flabby kid to being, you know, the number 2 player in the country. And it was Super Soph Camp that was his breakout. And after Super Soph Camp, he'll tell you he just exploded.
Yeah, he went from being a fairly flabby kid to a guy that looks like he's already spent a year or two at Kansas.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Turner making it look way too easy with these dunks.
He is super athletic at 6'4", but he's kind of long and almost has that 6'6" length. Really, really impressive talent.
Here's Nickelberry with it. They're looking inside for the big fella, Fluker. Be sure to stick with us for the top 20 game webcast as well. That one just off. Fluker with the offensive rebound. I'll tell you what, Jordan Whitfield is relentless on defense. There's a lot of things that may not show up in the box score.
Yeah, I mean, he's got all the intangibles. He affects the game in so many different ways. One game yesterday in our game session 3, I believe, He had 12 assists in that game. He had a double-double in points and assists. He had 12 assists, and you almost didn't notice him because he makes plays so easily for people. He's creative. There's Lambright right there, number 30, in blue from South Florida, Sarasota area. Really a scorer, and you can see him filling it up. We like that kid a lot, Romello Burrell from Marist High School in Chicago. Pretty good player. Look at that.
Athletic to even have an attempt on goal there for OKK. So we're going to have another round of substitutions. 3 minutes, 34 seconds left to play here in the first half. And, you've mentioned South Florida multiple times, but just touch on some of the other geographic areas represented here at the Super Soph Camp.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus, we've got kids from Texas. We've got a good crew from Houston. Got kids from Dallas. The D.C. area has 4 or 5 kids here. I mentioned Chicago, Manny Patterson and T.J. Smith and Romello Burrell, all from Chicago. You've got Jersey kids here. I mean, just all over. Of course, obviously a ton of Atlanta area and Georgia area kids that deserve to be here. So kids from all over.
And this might be a hard question to kind of differentiate. The games are so intense and competitive. You might not see a difference, but do you ever see the Atlanta or the Georgia-based kid kind of have an extra oomph, just given the fact that it's their home turf, so to speak?
I think that's an interesting question and a fair question. They do, year to year, you do seem to see certain ones that say, hey, all these players are coming into our turf, and we want to show, that we hold it down here, and this is, the A or the ATL is our home, and we're pretty good basketball players too, is what they say. And a good example of that is 2 years ago we had Jaylen Brown, and I think everyone knows Jaylen Brown's a top 5 player in the 2015 class, and he's had a tremendous spring and early summer so far. He's probably the hottest prospect in the country right now, and one of them. And he started here. I mean, this is where he said he took that same approach that you're talking about, Marcus. And he just said, hey, I'm going to have a great camp. And he had one of our camp's best all-time performances and turned it out and turned up. And he's never looked back.
Yeah, he's been known to have that effect on places when he goes there. I think M.J. Walker, the Jonesboro High School product, I think he's played with a similar kind of mojo here this weekend.
I'll tell you what, you will see the next game. That guy came into this camp and has played with unbelievable intensity, and he told me, he said, I want to dominate this camp, and in every way, not just scoring, but his physicality, his intensity, like you said, his focus, and his maturity. Reminds me a lot of JB, of Jaylen Brown, in his approach and maturity. Great kid too, but he's dealing with football right now. He's playing a little 7-on-7 in the spring season, so he's kind of juggling both, and it's impressive what he's done. We like him a lot.
Representative of Jonesboro High School, the state champion here in Georgia. Coach Dan Melman always does a great job. Great job on the offensive glass there by Lambright.
Oh, gets it to go. That's Kima Gibson. Kind of small in frame, but he is a pogo stick. He's about 6'6", and man, he had some highlight dunks this weekend from Oklahoma City. You're going to be hearing about him. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are all over him already, and he's going to be a special talent. He plays for Athletes First, Nike grassroots team.
For the Oklahoma City natives, they can appreciate any silver linings after the Thunder being ousted from the NBA playoffs just yesterday. But just like there's plenty of talent on the Thunder, plenty of talent represented there for the OKC area here at this Super Sophomore Camp. As we see Polly knifing through.
Probably got fouled there and got hit on the arm.
I love really being able to see these players play in this type of no whining, be quiet and play ball type atmosphere here this weekend. I think it only helps their making.
Well, That's true, and although we have had our share of drama this weekend here at the camp, but it's been great. You're right. These kids really focus on, okay, this is a serious camp, but we have fun doing it, and they have fun. They get to be around guys that they know. They get to, meet new friends, make new friends, and I think, Marcus, one of the big things that comes out of this, not only you make a good point. We try to have a great atmosphere here at camp. All positive, nothing negative. Our coaches are totally positive. They're not here to, they want to coach the kids hard, but we're not here to be negative and to, create all kind of criticism. This is really an opportunity to celebrate them for what they've already accomplished and achieved, but also to make them help them to see what they can go on to do. And so the vibe and the atmosphere is very positive here. It's an encouraging atmosphere, and we're just happy to have great kids every year, and so.
But we're going to take a short break. When we get back in about 2 minutes, we'll bring you the second half of the Top 40 game here on SUV TV. Thanks for joining us for the Super Soph Camp.
Whenever you don't win a championship, you didn't complete your task. I have sour taste in my mouth from last season. I feel like I left something on the table personally. You take that into the summer and you use it as your motivation. There's no off season for me because there's always somebody else working. Before I start training, I think about the guys who I think are in front of me. I always picture that person, picture them working hard. I refuse to let them outwork me. No matter if it's a game, no matter if it's practice, no matter if I'm in the gym by myself lifting, I train as if it's game time. I know in order to be where I want to be, I have to mentally take myself there every single time. I always ask myself at the end of the day, did I get better? Not staying the same. Either you're getting better or you're going backwards. I'm a lot stronger now than I was when I finished the season. Honestly, I never feel like I accomplished my goals. But ultimately, my goal is to win a championship in New York. I got a long ways to go, and I have to be physically and mentally ready to go the whole distance. That's what drives me every day. The day that I feel like I've accomplished my goals, I think I'll be retired.
I got all the dates. Okay, that's perfect. Seriously, thank you so much. That was awesome.
Ref, wait for TV, ref. Make sure TV behind you is ready, because they're running it.
Yeah, we're good. All right, and we're ready to resume the second half of play. Top 40 game here at the Super Sophomore Camp. I'm here with Clay Dade, camp director, as we get ready to jump into the second half of this matchup. Starting early and getting a trip to the free throw line, going to be number 62, Ian DuBose. First one on the way for DuBose, won't go. We appreciate you joining us here for the All-Star Games, although they can't begin to describe the talent and the development that's taken place here over the past couple days. Clay, what was your initial rationale for creating the Super Sophomore Camp?
Well, it really grew out of our other two camps, the Junior All-American Camp and our Fab Frosh Camp, or Freshman All-American Camp. A lot of kids had come through a great lay-in there in transition. Kyrie Walker, number 27 in white, from Northern Virginia, actually, the D.C. area. Marcus, it really came out of our other two camps where the kids come through those elite national camps as younger players, and once they get into high school, we still kept tracking them, and they really asked for it. It really came out of them asking for their own dedicated camp, because the LeBron James camps and Adidas Nations, those things, and Pangos All-American Camp, those things really focus on upperclassmen, and there's really nothing at the elite level for these young kids.
As we see, it continues to be bigger and better each year. So we got an alley-oop up top. Alley part there, oop part not so much. Here comes Team Blue the other way.
And I mean, we've had great players, Marcus. The first year in 2009, 2010 was our first Super Soph Camp. We had Tyler Ennis, who's going in this year's draft, the Syracuse point guard. He was totally unknown before that. Demetrius Jackson was in that same camp, Super Soph Camp, and we saw him become a McDonald's All-American, and he's now at Notre Dame. He just finished his freshman year at Notre Dame. So.
Three-pointer, no good there. 14 Blue, 2-on-1 break for Team White. That's going to be finished above the rim by number 47, Kima Gibson.
And also that year, that first year, Marcus Lee was unknown, 6'9", who ended up being McDonald's All-American, freshman at Kentucky this year.
Lee was, you hear the theme of be ready, when your number's called. I think Lee was a prime example of that, given the injury that University of Kentucky had.
He was ready in the tournament, in the Final Four. He was ready, and he when his number was called, he sat for most of the season, and that's just a testament to his work, and also just he was injured, but he stayed with it, stayed positive. There's a nice move by Eddie Scott from Gonzaga High School in Washington, D.C. Real nice move.
Gonzaga represented well here. You saw Scott with that move, and got a player from Gonzaga you might want to watch coming up in this top 20 game as well. I'll let you give a good synopsis of him, Clay.
I don't know what can be said about that little fella. You're going to see 5'7". I think he's 5'6", but Chris Likes, who is just an electrifying player. Would you agree, Marcus? I mean, he lit the camp on fire. He does everything. I mean, he's amazing. He has speed. He can shoot. He can score. He sets his players up. There you see Ian DeBose from Carolina knocking down the short jumper from the corner there. Yeah, Chris Likes is special.
Yeah, I was able to see Likes and Gonzaga play in the Chicago Elite Classic, this past high school season, and he comes in as a freshman, so you already know he's working with a certain amount just to even be in the game at that point in time, and just his composure in that type of setting really kind of, really showed you what this player was working with.
I've been knowing and watching Chris. We've scouted him for years, since he was 9 or 10 years old in the D.C. area, and one of the things that has always impressed us is his heart. And when you watch him play, you can see that he is fearless. I mean, he takes it in there with the big guys and finishes. Reminds me a lot in terms of his fearlessness and his heart of my former college teammate, Muggsy Bogues, who we both played together at Wake Forest. And Muggsy was the same way, and we know he played 14 years in the NBA and very successful.
Still right there. Comes Team Blue the other way. Ballard going to stop and pop. Rebounded out of there by Bebe. Bebe's going to lose it, though. Team Blue wide open jumper. And cashing in on it, number 80, Walter Prevost.
From Houston Hoops. Good player.
Tough take there. Getting the trip to the line going to be DeBose. We started the second half off with him going to the free throw line. He'll take his second trip of the half here. Also on the court, number 24, DJ Heath in the blue jerseys. He had a trip to the free throw line probably about a minute ago. A couple substitutions for Team White into the game, number 16, again, Latravian Glover, as well as number 97, Lenny Howard. Last but not least, number 37, Jordan Whitfield into the game for Team White as well.
I like Lemmy Howard a lot, too. I think he's going to be a name that will be hearing a lot from, or a lot about. And we'll be hearing from him in the next 2 years. He plays with the Jackson Tigers. Oh, wow. Look at that play. That's Daniel Mading, number 84 for the Blue. He's an African kid who's at the Rock School. That name might sound familiar, down in Gainesville, Florida. Same school that Scotty Wilbekin, the Florida player, Florida point guard, who was SEC Player of the Year. That's Lemmy Howard. Marcus, he is some kind of player. He's got that Rasul Butler perimeter game. Reminds me a lot of him. There you see Ticket DeAndre Ballard, the Atlanta kid here, going in for another follow-up. He just is an amazing slasher, does it all.
Picking up the pieces there is Howard.
Can really shoot it. I mean, he's like a carbon copy of Rasul Butler. 6'7". That's Ticket's move. That's his thing, is that curl on the move. You know, you might not think his game is pretty, but I tell you, he is always moving.
Yeah. Like they say, who cares about the pretty if the productivity is where it needs to be?
There you go.
There's Modding with it, back over to Ballard. Ballard thought it might have been a case of study long, study wrong, but he says, hey, I got this, as he knocks down another jumper.
Telling you, anything inside the arc, it's going up, and it's usually going in.
That three-pointer on the way there by Romello Burrell won't go. Modding's ahead of the pack. He's got Howard challenging. Nice drop off. The flush by Ballard.
Super athletic Ballard.
That bucket there by Terrell Turner. Did a nice job of going to the other side of the rim.
Pass.
Modding, talk about wingspan and length.
He is. The coaches were talking about him. They really like the upside he has and his length, and he just goes and plays. He doesn't know a lot about what he's doing yet. Another one of those Sudanese kids. You know, there's so many good ones that have come out of that territory in East Africa, and he's a good example of a kid who's, I think, his best days are really ahead of him. We're gonna be hearing about him. He's 6'8", 6'9" almost.
The Rock School, I know Coach Hardin, they keep a stable of good guys down there in Gainesville.
Look at that pass.
The backdoor cut. Reverse won't go, but right back on it. It's Terrell Turner. Nice assist by number 37, Jordan Whitfield, your guy.
I'm telling you, his vision and his ability to be creative and find teammates, that's why everybody liked playing with him this weekend. Here's a nice pull-up off the crossover, double crossover by DJ Heath out of Anniston, Alabama. Sacred Heart Catholic there, and he's a really good player. We like him a lot. He just needs to play with more confidence.
The ability to score the ball and do a lot of the more headline grabbing things is something that the Super Sophomore Camp brings. But explain the importance of doing what somebody like a Jordan Whitfield does, as far as the little things, the fundamentals that may not get the oohs and ahs, but still show that you really know and can play this game.
That's what we're looking for. We're not just looking for guys with that spectacular talent or athleticism. But we're also looking for guys like him who just make plays, and they understand how to play, how to involve four other people, their teammates on the floor, get them involved, keep them involved and engaged, and he competes. I mean, if there's a loose ball, he's coming up with it. I like Jordan Whitfield a lot. He's a leader. We're looking for leaders.
Behind the back.
Nice play right there.
To the rack there, number 30, Lambright. Walker the other way. He's going to be fouled by Lambright. Seen a bevy of athletic moves so far here in this game by Kyrie Walker. As we mentioned, several cities and states represented. the D.C. area, we referred to them several times. I think, when you look at a D.C. area and, Paul VI and Gonzaga, you really see how a lot of times the strength of your conference or the strength of those teams that you play on a regular basis during the high school season, how it really helps you in these type of settings. With you being from that area, talk about your thoughts in that note.
I grew up in that league, and in the area in general, DeMatha's also in that league. It's a great league, O'Connell, and when you talk about D.C., I grew up in the Lenny Bias, Johnny Dawkins era, great players. Those guys were my mentors. But in the past several years, you've got Ty Lawson, Kevin Durant, Keith Bogans, the list goes on and on. Michael Beasley, Nolan Smith. It's an unbelievable Delonte West. You could go on. Sam played with the Memphis Grizzlies. The name's escaping me.
Young?
Yes, Sam Young. There's so many kids that have played in the NBA that have come out of that area. And one thing that is true about all of them, it's a pride in trying to be really, really good.
Pass ahead and the finish by number 9, Tyler Polley. I remember Polley's father playing for the St. Louis Rams around that time. I was in college there in St. Louis, and as a student there at WashU, we got $1 off every Domino's pizza for every touchdown the Rams scored. So I used to watch those Rams games with some pretty fierce intent, man.
Right. You wanted that free food, right?
No doubt, man.
Or the discounted food.
Right,
yeah.
And back with Kurt Warner, those guys, the greatest
Funk,
the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
$5 pizzas every week, man.
Yeah, I bet.
Nice defense there by Team Blue.
You don't ever see too much defense in these games, these all-star games. That was nice to see.
It's been fun to see that from the players, like Whitfield. We saw the nice strip there. I believe that was Walker who reached in and knocked that away. But, you just really have players out here focused on competing to where they're not slacking off.
No, I think some pride's on the line. A lot of these guys feel like they should be in the top 20 game. So you're seeing them show, hey, but it's not chopped liver to be in either game in this camp. And even if you weren't selected or chosen, there's Ian DeBose for 3. He's got a lot of skill. Built like a linebacker or a running back, fullback. But we tell them, hey, if you weren't picked for this game, there's no shame in it. Don't feel discouraged, don't feel defeated or that you didn't live up to the billing. Nah. There were 94 kids in camp this year, and everyone selected, played varsity high school basketball as a freshman and can play.
Yeah.
That's why they're here.
When you look at the NBA, you look at guys that go first, second round, but, how many guys were undrafted, were in Europe for a few years, but really realized it was more of a marathon, not a sprint. Didn't use minor setbacks to discourage them, really just used it as fuel to work harder.
Absolutely. That's a great point. And, the journey's never really over. And these guys are really just starting out. So you do need to use motivation that way.
Slicing through, getting the front end of the three-point play the hard way, number 9, Polley. Back into the game, 14, White, 97, Lemmy Howard. Number 16, Travian Glover. Number 34, Romello Burrell. Number 37, Jordan Whitfield. In and out on the free throw. Snatching it out of there is Howard, though. Good hustle there by Lambright. Here comes Team Blue the other way. Long list of Super Soph Camp alums, that we touched on earlier. Are there any players that are a part of this year's event that remind you of some of your past participants?
Oh, that's a good question. I mentioned MJ Walker reminded me of Jaylen Brown. I think about Tyler Ennis, the kid you'll see next in the top 20 game, Trey Young from Oklahoma City. I mean, he's a special kid. Wow, he got hit in the head. They didn't call it. Yeah, he's kind of like a Bibby, Tyler Ennis type. We'll see him next. Wow, it's a good question. I have to think about that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some more comparisons that come to play in that top 20 game that we'll have up. That three-pointer's missed. Comes Nickelberry the other way. Southpaw with the spin move, gonna drop it off.
Wow.
And he's gonna leave it to number 58, Darion Fluker, to do the rest.
Powerful, powerful player. That was a thunderous dunk right there. There's Latravian Glover, 6'7", 215, and he is supremely gifted. Inside, outside player, slasher, athlete.
His stature kind of reminds me of a Karan Butler when I look at him.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. He doesn't have Karan's, as a young player, Karan had that perimeter game. He still is known for that. He doesn't have that going for him yet, although he has nice mechanics and, he takes the shot. Not consistent yet.
Lambright contested shot there. It's no good. Ball's going to be knocked out of bounds. I think it was last touch by Fluker. Now, the skill development sessions that the Super Soph campers were able to take part in, your thought on how those went and some of the key areas that were focused on.
I thought it went well. We tried to focus on things that I think are plaguing our game at the youth and high school level, such as kids not defensively not understanding rotations, kids not understanding how to be faithful to man ball principles, not letting people face cut and run in front of you and just go anywhere they want. Offensively, we worked on ball movement and player movement, and too much, I think, in our game, especially coming out of the AAU thing, what we see a lot is, these kids play so much basketball, Marcus, that they're not getting a lot of coaching, and there's not a lot of talk about, how to play without the basketball. Everyone's got to have the ball, and if they don't have the ball, they're standing.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that it's your flow and your movement that creates things and balances the floor, makes the defense move. There's a nice square up there from Fluker. Nice follow to his shot, and he gets the basket. We use drills that focus on that. We also talked about look at that play, transition defense. That's a big issue in this camp. And it's a big issue in these kids playing high school and grassroots, on the circuit. When they travel, they just don't take pride in transition defense. Everybody runs to the offensive end, but very few run back and try to get deflections, break up plays, and support teammates that are trying to defend in defensive transition and stop people.
As we're seeing a little bit of mano-a-mano with Travion Glover versus Fluker.
That's a Florida thing.
Gonna have a time as it's just a 5-point ball game. Both teams fighting in this one.
22 seconds left. Anybody's game here. All it takes is we saw that last night when the Thunder had their chances.
Going to be a very interesting NBA Finals. I mean, it's hard to find a better storyline when you look at the fashion that the Heat won last year's championship in, and the Spurs been able to show. I think it's tough to show mental fortitude, especially with the phase that their careers are at, and get right back to that same spot.
Good point. Good point. It's deja vu for sure.
Catch and shoot. Lenny Howard.
Got a good look at it. Didn't go down, in and out.
DJ Heath with a little bit of hesitation.
Nice move, DJ Heath with a sweet lay.
Glover got caught glancing at the clock, getting the steps right for the finish. Loses that ball out of bounds, and that's going to do it for the top 40 game here at the Super Sophomore Camp. I'm Marcus Burnett, signing off with Clay Day. Be sure to stick with us here for the Top 20 game coming up shortly.